Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America. You'll find us online at thisweekinamerica.us. The critically acclaimed book, Farmer's Son, Military Career by Clarence Vold, is his story, growing up in the plains of South Dakota, completing grade school in a one-room school, achieving the highest enlisted grade in the Air Force, in many ways the culmination of his military career, service as an electronics technician, military training instructor, and instructor supervisor, schedule for air crews, missile crews, other assignments, a KC and EC-135 boom operator. That included 43 combat missions over Thailand and the Gulf of Tonkin, retirement from active duty, and then graduating from college. The book is Farmer's Son, Military Career by Clarence Vold, our guest on This Week in America. Clarence, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It is such a fascinating life that you've had and a career that you've given us this great story in the book. What was the inspiration? When did you decide, I think I've got some stories to tell that are interesting, entertaining, and they may help other people? How did this whole book idea come about for you?
Well, this one actually started as notes for my obituary. My brother died, and he had his service planned out, and what he wanted done. And my wife said, "Why don't you write down some ideas?" So I started writing. That didn't go anywhere, and then I got out pictures from when I'm 1 year old to till I was almost 70. Put them all in order and started writing the book. I wrote on it. It took about 7 months, and I put it away, and I never saw it again until for almost 6 years. From the time I first started until it was published was 8 years, but most of that over 6 years of that time it was just sitting back waiting. It didn't even look at it. And I started looking at it one time, and I thought, yeah, this is kind of interesting. And then I saw an advertisement for Page Publishing where they would print the book, publish it. I contacted them, and it was printed and published.
That's fascinating. During that 6-year period when you went back, what were your thoughts when you went back? Obviously, you thought, hey, there is something here because I'm going to go ahead and publish this book.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I had not looked at it for at least 6 years, so I'm looking at it totally cold. And I read things, and I said, oh, hey, that's interesting. Oh, wait a minute, I did that. And so I wrote it, first I wrote it just for my family. And I sent copies to different people, and they liked it. And then I was like I said, then I contacted Page Publishing, and I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to try.
Talk about going back through your life as you did with the pictures and the recollections, and then writing about it. What was that experience like for you to be able to go back and look on your life? Because as you look as an outsider, it's a pretty remarkable life that you led, where you ended up and finishing up college after a full career in the military. What was it like, the experience going back and seeing your life in pictures, words, and finally a published book?
It was really pretty much just my life and my family, my sisters, brothers. When we got together, we'd have when we were together, we would talk about family and friends, and when we were on the telephone, we'd talk about them. So it was something I've been doing pretty much all my life. We're looking at old pictures. Our mother, every time the family got together, there was a marathon picture taking and picture looking session. So it was really just my life, what I'd done most of my life.
How hard was it to go back and edit with all of the material that you have, the pictures that you talk about, the memories, to go back and do some editing and like, okay, this is maybe more important to me than it will be to somebody who's reading it, and put that final edition together? How difficult was the editing process for you?
Not really, not very much. By the time I'd written this, I've been writing in the Air Force performance reports. I also was writing regulations, operating instructions for weather radar. Through the military, I take some technical writing courses, and when I was in Japan, through the University of Maryland, another technical writing course. So I studied the basics of writing. and I was able to. It wasn't hard at all.
And I know you took some writing courses in college. What are some of who are some of your influences as authors, as writers, people that you enjoy reading that maybe influenced your writing style?
Chesty Puller.
Okay.
Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams.
Some good people that you have as people who've influenced your writing. Clarence Vold is our guest on the program. That's V-O-L-D. The book we're talking about is Farmer's Son, Military Career. His website is clarencevoldbooks.com. Book, of course, available at Amazon, the usual places, and you can link on directly to Clarence's website by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. The book is laid out very interesting because we actually follow sort of chronographically what happens in your life. Tell us a little bit about the layout and what listeners, viewers can expect to see in the book.
It's my life, my experiences from my first memories. The pictures. The first picture is probably about the time of my first birthday. It's my sister and brother and me. But then it's different things I've experienced through my life. I tried to lay it out generally, chronologically, as I grew older, as I experienced things, from going from grade school to high school, joining the military, my first years in the military, including marriage in there and a family. My wife and I never had children, but and then my total career, then retirement, going back to college, and after I finished college, writing, and now I do a lot of painting, scenery pictures.
That's interesting, and love to have a chance to talk about that, and maybe we will on a future program about the artistic. Is this sort of late in life where you've decided, okay, I can write, I can paint?
I've been writing, or wanted to write for many years. At first, I just wasn't very good. I'd have an idea. I got this fantastic idea. I got to write it down. I'd write one sentence and look at that, and what is that? And then I went on, just started writing a little bit here, a little bit there, more and more. And then, of course, writing performance reports was important. That you needed to use words carefully to get the maximum picture, maximum intent across in the fewest amount of words.
Yeah, I would assume that precision is very important in writing those, and it helps you as an author because we know exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes, an author can be vague, and we're not quite sure exactly the point he's trying to make. And you're very clear and concise and get to the point.
Yes, that's one of the things. The primary purposes or the primary emphasis of technical writing is say what you want to say. And know your audience, know your subject, know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and as a reader, we appreciate that because you get to the point. Sometimes they'll add a whole bunch of words and they're not necessary and they sort of detract from the point you're trying to make. You get right to the point in the book. The book is Farmer's Son, Military Career. Let's focus on that farmer's son for a second here. I mentioned you grew up in the plains of South Dakota. Farmer's son, Dad really thought you were going to take over the farm, I read in the book.
He wanted me to, yeah, but he never said anything about to me until the day I left to join the Air Force. And he said, aren't you being kind of a fool for joining the Air Force? I was going to make you a partner on the farm. And it just didn't interest me. I have my paternal grandparents. There are 8 children, actually 10. And a cousin, a female, she was the only one that stayed on the farm. She married a farmer. The rest of us all we left the farm. Oldest brother, the Internal Revenue Service. Other brother went to college. Sister was a nurse. And other cousins, minister, teachers. And we just didn't like farming. And a lot of that was I saw what farming did to my father, and it was he was old before his time, I thought, and it just didn't look like that wasn't something I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a real lifestyle, what they go through, not only the physical part, but I would think the mental and the emotional, as you're wondering what the crop is going to produce this year and the bills to pay that are coming in all at the same time. This is the autobiography of Clarence Vold. The book is Farmer's Son, Military Career. Information at clarencevoldbooks.com. When you joined the Air Force, there was a decision to make, a point that you had to decide, okay, am I going forward or not? You decided to go forward. What was it about the Air Force that really appealed to you, that lifestyle?
My original enlistment, that was what I'd started. My brother insisted I go to college, so I followed Big Brother's steps. And it just wasn't right for me at that time, but I needed to figure out what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to be on a farm to do it, so I joined the Air Force, kind of figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And the first enlistment was, that was fine. Then I decided, well, it'd be kind of nice to go overseas. I volunteered for Japan. I had to enlist to that, ended up re-enlisting to go to Japan. Then I got back to the United States, and I married, and the critical point was at 8 years. If I re-enlisted one more time, that would be for 12 years, and then I'm well over halfway to 20 years, and I might as well stick it out. So at 8 years, it was either, go or stay, go for the career or get out then. And I decided to go for the career.
It's a fascinating life and career, and we'll talk about it further. Actually, Clarence will be back with us on another program, and we'll get into some of those fascinating aspects of your life. And you say something interesting, because you tried college, it didn't work out, you turned to the military. So often, even 18, 19, 20 years old, people assume you're mature beyond your years, and you do want to know what you would like to do with the rest of your life. You would fall into that category that you really didn't know at that point, obviously.
No, I didn't, and in some ways, I'm not sure I ever did figure out what I wanted to do.
A lot of us are in that category.
Figured out, it was too late to bother.
You'll find that story and more. Farmer's Son, Military Career. Clarence Vold, our guest on the program. The book is full of anecdotes. Share a few, some moments maybe from the childhood, because it's an interesting childhood growing up in South Dakota. I mentioned the one-room schools and some of those in the Air Force. What are those that come to mind that maybe as a reader we would enjoy reading and possibly even relate to?
Growing up, there was that's a hard question for me to think, because what's in the past in the past. But I think it was, like I said, something interesting. That, quite honestly, is the hardest question for me to answer.
Well, it is, because I'm sure at the time they were all interesting, fascinating stories. And then, like you said, you move on because it's now the future. It's not the past. You put them together in putting the stories together for the book Farmer's Son, Military Career. The book is full of anecdotes and stories. And as we read the book, what do you hope the reader takes from reading Farmer's Son, Military Career?
I think that you'll never give up, keep trying, keep going, and never be satisfied where you're at. Keep looking for something new. Keep moving forward. Keep learning.
Well, and you've really done that all through your life. After college, did you work after you did the military? Did college? Did you work after college?
Yes, I did. I worked for Hertz Local Edition, renting cars. An interesting point there comes as I delivered a car to a dealership or to an auto body shop about 30 miles away, and the owner said that the people renting the car were known to pull scams on car rental companies. Well, I didn't have anything to, so I said, okay. They came in and they were talking in Thai, the Thai language, and I was not fluent in any way or close to fluent in Thai, but I understood enough to know they were talking in Thai. And they talked for about 5 minutes, and one of them, I looked at him and I said, "Where are you from in Thailand?" And they looked at each other, went outside, came back in, and says, "Oh, we don't need the car."
Interesting. They assumed because you knew the language, you knew exactly what they were saying.
Well, at first they had no idea. They didn't believe anybody would understand anything they said.
Yes.
And then when I said that, they knew I understood something, but they were afraid to ask what I knew or how much I knew, so they canceled their scam.
It's just as easy to get out of there before you deal with law enforcement, so they decided to take the quick way out there. You know, it's interesting because after the military, you went to college, you had the time you spent with Hertz. Talk a little bit about the difficulty that some have in transitioning from the military. Was that difficult for you to transition from the full military life you had to college and then to working in the job force?
Not really. I worked for some fantastic people. It was in my Air Force career, I was fortunate to be in skills and jobs where it was there was a very family type mentality.
Yes.
We were small groups. We stuck together. We stayed together. I was in air weather service and weather maintenance. Then I became a boom operator and on a crew, and it was like a lot like that. And so I was generally in smaller units where there was a familiar feeling, and I always enjoyed that.
With us on the program is Clarence Vold. That's V-O-L-D. Farmer's Son, Military Career is his book. His website is clarencevoldbooks.com. A lot of great information there on Clarence's life, information on the book at his website. You can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Working with you on the project has been Reader's Magnet. I'd like to ask you about the experience in working with them and in taking your project, taking your autobiography, and taking it to the public.
They're working. They're doing a lot for me. Well, I've got. I'm going to two book signings. Two book signings in Miami later this month. Be there on Friday and Saturday, the 14th and 16th of November, I believe it is. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Yeah, I don't either, but that sounds about right.
As advertisement in the Publishers Weekly. And also they've got some publicizing through this, just a sec, please.
So they're really helping you get the word out on the book, and that has to be fun going to a book signing where you can come face to face with people and interact with them. That has to be enjoyable for you. Well,
it'll be an experience because I've never done it before. But there's a digital management program. They're reaching out to into the farm community, military, Veterans Affairs, and youth to publicize the book through them also.
And there's so much information. It's interesting, all of those aspects you cover, and you cover very well, thoroughly in the book, Farmer's Son, Military Career. Clarence will be back, and we'll focus on all those different aspects of your life that we just talked about, because you've got them all covered. The book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the usual places, at his website, clarencevoldbooks.com. That's V-O-L-D. And, of course, you can link on by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Clarence, a pleasure having you on the program and talking about the book. What a fascinating life, farm, military, all in between, college education. We'll talk about it on the next time we have you with us on the program. Thank you for being with us on the program today.
Thank you.
It has been our pleasure. And once again, the book is Farmer's Son, Military Career, Clarence Vold. His website, clarencevoldbooks.com. You can log on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us.